Hello friends, welcome to CEC Live Lectures. Dear friends, today in this session we are going to talk on yet another important and interesting topics. Our topic of discussion is Global South, Third World Politics. So we are going to discuss that how after Cold War, the third world countries became politically active. Friends, for the discussion, we have with us in our studios Dr. Sujit Thakur. Dr. Sujit Thakur is Assistant Professor in Department of Political Science, Dayal Singh College, University of Delhi. Friends, if you have any question pertaining to the topic, while listening, if you feel so that your questions to be answered, then feel free to talk to us through a toll-free number. Our number is 1800110430. I repeat, our number is 1800110430. You are requested to ask questions pertaining to the topic in the last 10 minutes of the lecture only. Now, I would like to welcome our guest, Dr. Sujit Thakur, once again. Hello, sir. Welcome to the lecture.
Good afternoon, listeners and viewers. See, today we are going to discuss about the Global South, the third world politics. Why we are going to discuss about the Global South? Because see, this is one of the most important and emerging topic in the recent world politics, especially after 90s. What we have witnessed that, see, the term Global South has been frequently used by the emerging economies, as well as the term Third World. What we have been understanding and discussing this topic since long, after Cold War started to the post Second World War. What we see that these two topics have been interconnected with each other, because the Global South term has been more referred for the third world after the 2000 onwards. And prior to that, before 90s, what we witnessed that the third world is more in reference to use in the international politics. Now the question is, what we understand through this topic, why we are discussing about the Global South and the third world politics, why it is so important in international relations. See, there are two sections in this lectures. We are going to first discuss about the perspective of the Global South, the concept of the third world, and then we are going to discuss about how it has been originated, how it influenced the world politics, how the Afro-Asian and Latin American countries clubbed together and demanded for the better economic and political participations in the world politics. And equally, then we are going to discuss about how the third world politics started playing a very important role in the emerging world order. So there are two sections of this. This lecture. One is we are going to conceptualize the concept of the Global South and the third world, and second is we are going to discuss about how the third world politics has been playing a very important role in the emerging economy of the present world order. And in keeping all these points, we are started discussing about the concept of the Global South. So the first slide is talking about the term arose during the Cold War, when two opposing blocs appeared to dominate the world politics. It sees world politics in terms of global struggle between rich and poor countries. Within this bipolar world, third world consisted of economically and technologically less developed countries. Third world display little homogeneity. It is divided by race, religion, culture and geography, and as well as frequently opposite interests. Now, when we understood through this slide, this is the very basic concept here they are trying to link. You see, the concept of third world emerged during the Cold War, because when we are talking about the Cold War, there are two kind of bipolar world was existed in the international relations. One dominated by the America and Western countries, that known as the first world. The second world, what we know, the Soviet bloc, basically the Soviet Union and all the Eastern Europe countries and most of the communist countries. And third world, those countries who emerged, who got independence after the Second World War, especially the India, Pakistan, Indonesia, Vietnam, Latin American countries. They all got independence. Some of them, especially the Latin American countries, got the prior independence before the 1945. And in Africa, most of the countries got independence after the 1960s. So for these countries, we use the term for the third world. But when we say how we understand what is the third world countries and what is the first world countries and what is the second world countries, the international academicians and the literatures divided the third world countries where there are they are the developing countries or they are technologically less developed, and the rich countries and the poor countries. Because when we started understanding about the third world countries, and when we recall our new Marxist lectures and the world system theory lectures, then what we realized that the country which has been considered as the core countries, those who have infrastructure development, those who have all kind of technological development, those who have a manufacturing capacity, those who have industrialized systems, those countries who have urbanized and the modern political institutions, considered as the first world countries, and those countries who follow the centralized economic system as well as developed technologically and politically, considered as the second block countries. But those countries who have just got independence and are struggling to find struggling to adjust in the new world order system through creating new political structure as well as the new infrastructure, and also economically they have less resources and they require resources from the first world and second world countries, they consider as the third world countries. And when we also started discussing about how we can characterize what is the third world countries and what kind of features and what kind of characteristics of the third world countries, then we say it has been divided by race, religion, culture and geography, and as well as frequently opposite interests. Means there is no homogeneous society. There are number of races, there are number of ethnic groups, number of different cultures. You can see the example of the India as well, because there are a number of ethnic groups like Mongoloid, Aryan, Dravidian, then other ethnic groups as well. Then in the geographical terms, what is North India, South India, Eastern India, Northeast India. So, and there are number of languages, more than 1600 languages used by the Indians. Then there are number of caste groups, and they all have a different kind of opposite interest. So they are telling us, in the third world countries, we can generally find these kind of features. But in the first world politics, if you see, even they have a multi-ethnic society, but multi-ethnic society have been overcome with the developmental process, and they all are considering themselves in the mainstream society of the country, and the nation building process has been completed. But in the country like the third world country, whether it's Nigeria, whether it's Sudan, whether it's Pakistan, whether it's India, whether it's Indonesia, whether it's Vietnam, whether it's other countries of the world, still the nation building process has been evolving. Even if you see the Sri Lanka, there also the nation building process has been in evolution process. So this is the biggest challenge for the third world countries in international politics, to claim themselves that they are the one of the most important block of the world politics. But they want to have this kind of understanding at the world level, where when this group was formed and when this nomenclature was used, they used for the bridging the gap between the first world and second world. But number of other countries also sided with one block or another block. That is the different issues which we later on the different topic. And the second topic, second slide also talking about is how we can understand where we can consider this is the third world countries or this is the global south. Just like you see, at the economic terms also, they widely advocated for the new economic order. The term continued to gain tractions and appeal throughout the second half of the 20th century. Since about the 2000, the term third world has been used less and less. It is being replaced with terms such as developing countries, least developed countries, or the global south. Now see, when we started understanding what we saw, you see there is those countries who are less economically developed, less politically mature, and still struggling to get their position in the world order. These countries are clubbed as a third world country. And those countries who have been regulating and monitoring the world economic system, these countries are the first world countries. Like prior to WTO, the countries was the GATT was regulated and monitored by the America and its allies, and the Comecon was regulated and monitored by the Soviet Union and its allies. But the third world countries, because they didn't have any options, they have to adjust and readjust themselves with the ongoing current political and economic system of the world. So they, within that world, they started demanding for the new economic order in the 70s and 60s. And then we saw in the 20th century, especially, the third world politics started gaining more importance after the second half, when they have a majority in the United Nations General Assembly. But after 2000, when the number of third world countries started emerging as one of the global players, like India, like China, like South Africa, like Brazil, then they started using the term global south rather than the developing countries and least developed countries. So in the nomenclature terms also what we have seen it, you see, if we understand the third world and the global south, the term started during the Cold War period, considering the countries mostly from the Latin America, Africa and Asia, and those countries who are not so developed but politically and economically, and decolonized after the post-Second World War scenario, and struggling to find a place in the world politics, and trying to reform the world economic and political systems to gain more and more assistance from these the so-called developed countries, are considered as the third world countries. But these terms in the 50s, what we have seen it, 50s and 60s and 70s, more and more the term for the less economically and developed countries are used by the international literature and academic scholars as the third world. And after 90s and 2000, what we witnessed that the term has been replaced and the global south has been used for the countries who are economically and politically emerging in the world market. So the global south, in the next slide, what we try to understand, the global south is a term that has been emerging in transnational and post-colonial studies to refer to what may also be called the developing world or economically developed nations. And post-colonial theorists argue that through formal colonialism had ended, rich countries retained the ability to control the economics of LDC through neocolonialism. So now, when we started understanding, you see, what is the meaning of the term of the global south, then what we understood, you see, it has been emerging in transnational and post-colonial studies. Because see, the post-colonial studies, especially this is the new Marxist or subaltern studies, who explain the term global south because number of scholars or number of countries didn't like to call themselves like a third world. But the global south has been generally accepted term, and in the post-colonial studies, they generally started referring the concept of the global south for the countries who are economically and developing, economically and politically developing into the world politics. So after 90s and 2000, what we witnessed that this term has gone a more importance, especially in the academic literature in the post-colonial studies. And the post-colonial theorists have a main emphasis that, you see, though the countries of the Latin America, Africa and Asia got to independence from their colonial master, but in some form they have still ability and capability to monitor their political system, whether it was the Pakistan, whether it is the India, whether it is the Bhutan, whether it is the Nepal, whether it is the Indonesia, whether it is the Vietnam, whether it is South Korea. So they are trying to tell us, you see, the post-colonialists mainly argue that, you see, despite they got independence, some of the countries got their own ability to control their own decision-making process, but number of countries still in the Africa and the Latin America and especially in the Asia also, these colonial masters are still deciding their political affairs and the economic regulation. So their understanding is, you see, even after the 70 years and 80 years of the post-Second World War situations, what we have been witnessing that the global south countries have been not getting that kind of place what they require and what they deserve in the world politics. तो पूरे के पूरे इस लेक्चर में हमने ये कोशिश की है समझने का कि आखिर जो थर्ड वर्ल्ड है, तृतीय विश्व की जो बात की जाती है अंतर्राष्ट्रीय राजनीति में, और ग्लोबल साउथ का जो कंसेप्ट आया है दक्षिणी वैश्विक दुनिया का, आखिर इसका क्या महत्व है अंतर्राष्ट्रीय राजनीतिक सिद्धांत में या अंतर्राष्ट्रीय राजनीति में, इस चीज़ को हम इस लेक्चर में समझने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं। कहने का अर्थ हुआ कि आप जब अंतर्राष्ट्रीय राजनीति का अध्ययन करते हैं तो यूनिट थर्ड में आप देखते होंगे कि एक टॉपिक है थर्ड वर्ल्ड, और जब आप यूनिट सेकेंड में जाते होंगे तो देखते होंगे कि यूरो सेंट्रलिज्म एंड द ग्लोबल साउथ का कंसेप्ट है। लेकिन ये ग्लोबल साउथ और थर्ड वर्ल्ड जो टॉपिक है बेसिकली एक इंटर रिलेटेड टॉपिक है, जिसको हम इस रूप में देखते हैं कि जो इकोनॉमिकली एंड पॉलिटिकली जो डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज है या जो लेस डेवलप कंट्रीज है, बेसिकली एशिया, अफ्रीका, लैटिन अमेरिका के, उसके संदर्भ में यह टर्म को प्रयोग किया गया है, बेसिकली थर्ड वर्ल्ड एंड ग्लोबल साउथ को। और मुख्य रूप से इनकी चिंता जो है या विषय का जो विस्तार है इस रूप में किया गया है कि आखिर जो द्वितीय विश्व युद्ध के बाद जो दुनिया दो ध्रुवीय हो चुकी थी, जिसमें एक तरफ अमेरिका था और पश्चिमी दुनिया थी, जो एक प्रकार के कंसेप्ट ऑफ मॉडर्नाइजेशन को लेकर चल रही थी और जिसमें उनका यह मानना था कि आधुनिकीकरण के द्वारा ही अन्य देश जो पिछड़ चुके हैं उनका भी विकास हो सकता है और नई प्रकार की दुनिया में वो शामिल हो सकते हैं। और दूसरी जो दुनिया थी, खास करके जो सोवियत ब्लॉक था, जो कम्युनिस्ट ब्लॉक था, वो डेमोक्रेटिक सेंट्रलिज्म या एक वर्ल्ड सोशलिज्म के कंसेप्ट के आधार पर दुनिया को नए रूप में लाने का प्रयास कर रही थी। उस दो ध्रुवीय विश्व के विस्तार के साथ साथ जो अन्य कंट्रीज का जो स्वतंत्र हुई और उनकी जो अपनी एक अलग राजनीतिक आर्थिक व्यवस्था के रूप में सामने आया, उनकी संख्या काफ़ी अधिक थी, खास करके अफ्रीका में, लैटिन अमेरिका में और एशिया में। उन कंट्री ने अपने राजनीतिक अलग पहचान की कोशिश की, जिसके लिए वो अलग अलग तरह के राजनीतिक और आर्थिक व्यवस्था में शामिल हुए। तो ये मुख्य रूप से हम इस पूरे टॉपिक में इसी बात की चर्चा कर रहे हैं कि आखिर जो गुटनिरपेक्षता की नीति आई, जो ग्रुप 77 का जो फॉर्मेशन हुआ, न्यू इंटरनेशनल इकोनॉमिक ऑर्डर की जो मांग हुई, साथ साथ जो 90 के बाद जो फेल्ड स्टेट का जो कंसेप्ट सामने आया, साथ साथ जो अभी 90 के बाद जो ब्रिक्स जैसे जो संगठन का स्थापना हुआ, एक इमर्जिंग इकोनॉमी की जो बात की जा रही है, वो किस प्रकार से वैश्विक राजनीति को नए स्वरूप देने का प्रयास कर रहा है, इस बात को इस पूरे संदर्भ में हम समझने का कोशिश कर रहे हैं। साथ ही साथ हमने इस लेक्चर में यह भी समझने का कोशिश किया, या इस 3-4 स्लाइड में हमने ये भी समझने की कोशिश किया कि आखिर ये थर्ड वर्ल्ड कहते किसको है और ये थर्ड वर्ल्ड है क्या, ग्लोबल साउथ टर्म को किस रूप में हम प्रयोग करते हैं। तो जब हम इस बात को समझने का कोशिश कर रहे हैं तो हम ये समझने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि थर्ड वर्ल्ड जो कंसेप्ट है, यह वस्तुतः जो शीत युद्ध का काल था 1950 के बाद, उस संदर्भ में इसका प्रयोग किया गया और ऐसे कंट्रीज के लिए प्रयोग किया गया जो द्वितीय विश्व युद्ध के बाद जो स्वतंत्र हुए, खासकर अफ्रीका, लैटिन अमेरिका और एशिया में, जो राजनीतिक और आर्थिक रूप से बहुत ज़्यादा सफल राष्ट्र नहीं थे और जिनका तकनीकी विकास भी अधिक से अधिक नहीं हो सका था, और एक संघर्षरत राष्ट्र के रूप में जिनमें मल्टी एथनिक ग्रुप्स थे, जातीय, संस्कृति, क्षेत्रीय आधार पर अलग अलग ग्रुप में बटा हुआ जो एक देश था, उन देशों की जो समस्याएं थी और उन देशों का जो वैश्विक राजनीति में जो प्रथम विश्व और द्वितीय विश्व के साथ जो सहयोग की जो रणनीति थी, उस रणनीति को मुख्य रूप से हम चर्चा करने का इसमें प्रयास कर रहे हैं। साथ ही हम यह भी समझने की कोशिश करते हैं कि आखिर ये जो थर्ड वर्ल्ड है और ग्लोबल साउथ है, ये दो टर्म जो बार बार प्रयोग किया जा रहा है, क्या यह एक अलग अलग कंसेप्ट है या एक ही कंसेप्ट है। तो इस बात को जब हम समझने की कोशिश करते हैं तो हम देखते हैं कि 50s में और 60s के काल में जो ग्लोबल साउथ का जो कंसेप्ट है, उसी को थर्ड वर्ल्ड के रूप में हमने देखा कि अधिक से अधिक अंतर्राष्ट्रीय अध्ययन में इस विषय को थर्ड वर्ल्ड के रूप में समझने की कोशिश की गई। वहीं पर 70s के बाद एक ग्लोबल साउथ टर्म भी यूज किया गया, क्योंकि जो तृतीय विश्व के दुनिया थे उनको थर्ड वर्ल्ड कहलाना बहुत अधिक सहज नहीं लग रहा था और उनको लग रहा था कि हमें ये क्यों कहा जा रहा है कि हम इकोनॉमिकली एंड पॉलिटिकली जो वीक कंट्रीज है, जिनके पास टेक्नोलॉजिकल इनोवेशन नहीं है, जिनके पास मल्टी एथनिक सोसाइटी है, देयर आर डिफरेंट इंटरेस्ट ग्रुप्स हैं, जो आप आपस में ही एक विद इन कंट्री जो है नंबर ऑफ नेशनैलिटीज है, उसके आधार पर ये एक प्रकार की राजनीति करते हैं। तो उसको जो समझने का जो प्रयास किया जा रहा था बार बार, उस चीज़ को भी इस लेक्चर के माध्यम से हम स्पष्ट करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। और इसी टर्म को बाद में 90s के बाद जब इमर्जिंग वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमी में इंडिया का, साउथ अफ्रीका का, चाइना का, ब्राज़ील का, मैक्सिको का और अदर जो साउथ कोरिया का, ऐसे कंट्रीज, इंडोनेशिया का, ऐसे कंट्री जो सामने आए, उन्होंने जो थर्ड वर्ल्ड की जगह ग्लोबल साउथ शब्द का प्रयोग करना ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट समझा और ब्रिक्स जैसी संस्था का स्थापना हुई और एक नई वैश्विक व्यवस्था की तरफ एक बार्गेनिंग पॉलिटिक्स के रूप में हमने देखा कि नॉर्थ एंड साउथ जो दो ध्रुव के रूप में देखा जाता है। जैसे नॉर्थ जो है एक विकसित राष्ट्र की श्रेणी को कहा जाता है और साउथ जो आधुनिकीकरण के दौर में अभी चल ही रहा है और विशेषकर उनकी दुनिया जो है आर्थिक और राजनीतिक स्तर पर अपने आप को सक्षम करने में प्रयासरत है। उस संदर्भ में इस पूरे कंसेप्ट को हम समझने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं। नाउ we are understanding who coined the term third world, whether it was the Marxist writer Frantz Fanon or it was the coined by the other writers like Alfred Savi and Karl Ogilvy. So here we trying to just conceptualize the term who coined this term. So here the question is originated by the Martin Q, basically the West Indian from Marxist writer Frantz Fanon. Fanon books Black Skins and the White Mask and the Ratchet on the Earth 1962, analysis of psychological consequences of racism on both colonist and colonized. Fanon argued that language played a key role in the colonialism. Therefore, the designation third world was generally negative and not generally accepted by concerned countries. Fanon argued that collective catharsis, in other words, overcoming the oppressors through violent revolutions. So, see, in international politics, we generally understand and consider, you see, the third world concept has been generally first time conceptualized by the West Indian Marxist thinker Frantz Fanon, and especially when he explained the whole concept in his book Black Skin and the White Mask in 1952 and The Wretched on the Earth in 1963, where he explained the psychological humiliations and psychological inferiority of the third world countries in compare with the first world countries. And as you can see, the language playing a very important role, because Fanon also himself was the soldier of the from the French army in the Second World War, and he considered, you see, when the the third world countries accepted the language of the first world countries, they themselves surrendered before them. So they are telling, you see, the English became an official language, whether it's India, whether it's Pakistan, whether the other part of the world, Africa, Latin America. The country of the language of the imperial countries, like especially the America and the Britain, became a language of the third world countries. So we accepted it officially. You see, these countries are superior in our culture and language. So they say, you see, these humiliations, and especially he tried to say, you see, the white people started understanding, you see, their dominance on the third world, because they are the weak, they are not so capable, and they would not work in all other areas. So Fanon started coining the term, you see, what are the feelings of the third world countries, and he analyzed the psychological explanations. And then they said, you see, how the third world countries can overcome with the collective catharsis. He has given the concept of the collective catharsis, where he tried to explain it. You see, when we overcome our weaknesses by the violent revolutions, then we can only prove ourselves in the world politics. You see, we have our own identity, we have our own culture, we have our own language, and we started feeling, you see, we can compete with them in equal term, rather than we can compare with the whether we can compete with them in a different level. तो कहने का अर्थ यह हुआ कि फ्रेंच फैनन साहब जो थे, जिन्होंने 2 बुक किताब लिखी थी, ब्लैक स्किन एंड द वाइट मास्क एंड द रैचेड ऑन द अर्थ, इन्होंने पूरी व्याख्या की इस विषय का, और इसको इस रूप में जानने की कोशिश की। इसको लेक्चर के बाद
हम धन्यवाद देना चाहते हैं डॉक्टर ठाकुर को, जिनके माध्यम से हमने इस विषय पर आपको ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा जानकारी दी, और हम यही जानते हैं कि आप जिज्ञासु हैं। तो मित्रों, अगर आप जिज्ञासु हैं और जानकारी प्राप्त करना चाहते हैं, तो आपसे निवेदन करना चाहेंगे कि आप हमारे साथ बने रहें। एक अल्प विराम के उपरांत हम आप सभी के सम्मुख पुनः प्रस्तुत होते हैं और इस व्याख्या को आगे बढ़ाते हैं। हमें देखने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। Hello friends, welcome back to the session. Friends, as you know that today we are talking on Global South, Third World Politics, and for the discussion we have with us in our studios Dr. Sujit Thakur. Dr. Sujit Thakur is Assistant Professor in Department of Political Science, Dayal Singh College, University of Delhi. Friends, if you have any set of questions in mind, feel free to talk to us through our toll-free number. Our number is 1-800-110-430. I repeat, our number is 1-800-110-430. Now I would like to welcome our guest Dr. Sujit Thakur once again. Hello sir, welcome.
अभी हम लोग चर्चा कर रहे थे कि ग्लोबल साउथ या थर्ड वर्ल्ड जो शब्द है इसका संकल्पना में कंसेप्चुअलाइजेशन कैसे हुआ, इसकी जब हम चर्चा कर रहे थे तो हमने कहा कि फ्रेंच फैनन साहब जो थे जिन्होंने 2 किताब लिखी थी, ब्लैक स्किन एंड वाइट मास्क और खासकर रेचेड ऑन द अर्थ, इसमें इन्होंने विस्तार से जो कॉलोनियल कंट्रीज हैं, खास करके जो लैटिन अमेरिका, अफ्रीका, एशिया की कंट्री जिनका एक साइकोलॉजिकल डिप्रोवेशंस में जो अपने आप को महसूस करते हैं, खास करके भाषाई आधार पर, संस्कृति के आधार पर, क्षेत्रीय आधार पर, स्किन के आधार पर, तो ये जो एक फीलिंग है, इस फीलिंग को कैसे समाप्त किया जाए और अपने आप को इक्वल टर्न पर कैसे अंतर्राष्ट्रीय या राष्ट्रीय राजनीति में समझा जाए, इसके लिए उन्होंने एक संकल्पना दी थी कलेक्टिव कैथारसिस की। उन्होंने कहा था कि ये जो फीलिंग है इसको हम तब तक समाप्त नहीं कर सकते जब तक कि हम अपने लैंग्वेज को, अपने आइडेंटिटी को, अपनी संस्कृति को, अपने विचारों को यह न माने कि इसकी महत्ता भी ऐतिहासिक और सांस्कृतिक रूप से उसी प्रकार की है या उससे बेहतर है जिस प्रकार के वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज की है। तो इनका कहना था जब इन्होंने टर्म थर्ड वर्ल्ड का प्रयोग किया था, खास करके अंतर्राष्ट्रीय राजनीति में समझने के लिए थर्ड वर्ल्ड, लैटिन अमेरिकन, एशियन और अफ्रीका की कंट्रीज की भूमिका को, तो इन्होंने इस बात को काफ़ी बल दिया था और एक कंसेप्ट दिया था कलेक्टिव कैथारसिस का, खासकर सामूहिक रूप से किस प्रकार से इस विचार को हम ऊपर करें। और इसके लिए उन्होंने वायलेंट मीन्स के माध्यम से कि खास करके जो स्वदेशी आंदोलन जो भारत में हुआ था, जिसमें अंग्रेजों को बहिष्कार की बात कही गई थी, अंग्रेजी शब्द, अंग्रेजी कपड़े, अंग्रेजी शिक्षा, तो उसी प्रकार से फ्रेंच फैनन साहब का ये कहना था कि तब तक जो थर्ड वर्ल्ड कंट्रीज है या ग्लोबल साउथ में जो कंट्रीज है अपने आप को अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर मजबूत स्थिति में नहीं खड़ा कर सकते जब तक कि वो अपने इन विचारों से अपने आप को ऊपर नहीं कर सकते। उसी क्रम में हम ये भी चर्चा कर रहे थे कि आखिर क्या थर्ड वर्ल्ड कंट्री जो कंसेप्ट है या जो शब्द है इसका प्रयोग क्या फ्रेंच फैनन साहब ने पहली बार किया। तो हम देखते हैं कि इसमें यह भी कहा कि अल्फ्रेड सॉवी जो है, इन्होंने अपनी आर्टिकल जो है मैगजीन लॉ एब्स्ट्रैक्टर में जो फ्रांसिस वर्ड है उसमें उन्होंने इस टर्म को यूज किया था और बेसिकली इस रूप में किया था कि जो नॉन कंट्री जो कि ना तो नाटो की तरफ एसोसिएटेड हैं, ना तो सोवियत ब्लॉक की तरफ एसोसिएटेड है और अपने आप को एक थर्ड वर्ल्ड कंट्रीज के रूप में देखते हैं, तो उस रूप में इन्होंने इसका प्रयोग किया था। लेकिन अंतर्राष्ट्रीय राजनीति में या अंतर्राष्ट्रीय अध्ययन में हम जब इस बात को समझने की कोशिश करते हैं तो हम देखते हैं कि फ्रेंच फैनन को हम मानते हैं कि थर्ड वर्ल्ड कंसेप्ट जो है उन्होंने पहली बार इसकी पूरी व्याख्या की थी। हाँ, भले ही शब्दों का प्रयोग जो है इस अर्थ में जो अपने आप को ना तो अमेरिका से संबंधित मानता हो, ना सोवियत ब्लॉक से संबंधित मानता हो, इस संदर्भ में हम ये कह सकते हैं कि 1952 में अल्फ्रेड सॉवी ने इस शब्द का पहली बार प्रयोग किया। उसी प्रकार से जो टर्म ग्लोबल साउथ है, इसका प्रयोग हम ये देखते हैं कि पहली बार 1969 में कार्ल ओग्लेसबी, जो अमेरिकन एकेडमिशियंस थे और खास करके लेफ्टिस्ट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जुड़े हुए थे, इन्होंने अपनी जर्नल में, कॉमनवेल्थ में, खास करके जो वियतनाम वार जब हो रहा था अमेरिका और वियतनाम के बीच में, उस समय इस शब्द को विशेषकर जो नॉर्दर्न ब्लॉक है उसका जो सुप्रिटी का जो कॉन्सेप्ट था, जो अपने आप को एक सर्वोच्चता स्थापित करने की जो बात का थी, खास करके जो ग्लोबल जो दक्षिण की दुनिया है उस पर, इस संदर्भ में उन्होंने इस शब्द का प्रयोग किया था। और उसके बाद हम देखते हैं कि कार्ल ओग्लेसबी का जो कंसेप्ट था 90s और 2000 के ऑनवर्ड्स के बाद पूरी थर्ड वर्ल्ड में काफ़ी प्रचलित हुआ, और आज के परिप्रेक्ष्य में ग्लोबल साउथ जो कंसेप्ट है उसी चीज़ को लोग ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा स्वीकार कर रहे हैं। तो इन ऑल दिस 3 slides what we understood, see who coined the term, how we understood the concept of the global south and third world countries. So what we understood that, see, the third world, the concept in the international politics, in the international academic literature, the Frenchman and the new Marxist scholars started explaining in his 2 books, Black Skin and the White Mask and the Ratchet on the Earth. There he explained the psychological explanations of the third world countries, and there he coined the term of the third world. Equally, another French scholar, Albert Savy, who also coined the term in reference to those countries who are not aligned either with the Western power or the Eastern power, but they themselves having their own understanding about the world politics, they considered as the third world country. Then what we saw, you see, the global south term has been first time referred by the Carl Oglesby in the American academician, the leader of the leftist organization, in his journal Commonwealth, when there was a war was going between the America and the Vietnam, and there he conceptualized the term to see the way the imperialist power or those who are the developed power trying to hegemonize the whole concept and trying to force their own will on the developing countries. That led to the emergence of the word of the global south, and they try to explain in that context. So what we have seen, you see, all the countries, whether it all the scholars, whether we can think Frantz Fanon or Alfred Sauvy or Carl Oglesby, they all have used the term in the same reference, where they try to say us, see, the countries who are not clubbed with America or the Soviet bloc, or those who have their own political and economic understanding about the world politics, considered as the global south or the third world country. Then we also understand, see, how the global south concept has been emerged in the world politics. Here the role of the Mahatma Gandhi also considered as the one of the very important, and how the global south politics started influencing the world politics, where they say, see, the Mahatma Gandhi was considered as the pacifist, and his philosophy of the non-violence played a very important role in the decolonization of India. But it had also influenced across the world, where the Martin Luther King, if you see the civil rights movement in the America in the 1960s, the politics of ahimsa, the politics of pacifism played a very important role, and the Martin Luther King played a very crucial role in the providing a civilian right to the black people in the northern country. So they are telling, you see, it's not the only northern countries who influence the south, but the southern countries, the global south thinking also influence the northern countries, like they have given the example of the Mahatma Gandhi. So considering all these points, we try to conceptualize the whole concept. Then we also try to understand, because see, the global south also in the perspective of understanding the theoretical propositions, so how we can interrelate the concept of the Eurocentralism and the global south, because see, the global south perspective also questions the centrality of the peace of Australia. In understanding the international theory of the contemporary times, it was first developed by 19th century imperial international jurists, and that the Westphalian narratives perpetuate Eurocentric bias in international theory. Now see, we are clubbing here because after the 50s, what we have seen it, through the movement of enlightenment, through the movement of formation of Group 77, through the demand of the new international economic order, to the demand of new economic equality, the third world countries started asserting in the world politics. But at the same time, in the theoretical perspective, what we have witnessed, whether it's a realism, whether it's a feminism, whether it's a liberalism, whether it's other constructivism and all other school of thought, what we have seen is, you see the Eurocentric bias in the whole understanding of the international theory. So the new concept has been emerged in the international theory as well. You see how the politics of the India, how the politics of the China, how the thinkers of the China, India, Brazil, Mexico, African leaders, how they influence the international relations theory. So in this concept, we started understanding, and the first time they started questioning the peace of the Westphalia Treaty of 1648, because whenever we started discussing about the international politics, we say, you see, the modern state system has been emerged after the 1648, the peace of Westphalia Treaty, where the two concepts, especially the secularization of the state and the and the sovereignty concept had been utilized, and the Holy Roman Empire had lost all the credibility. But prior to that, also in the eastern part and other part, the civilization was more developed. So they said, you see, whenever we started analyzing and explaining the whole concept of the international theory, what we find that the bias in the understanding of the international theory in the Eurocentric bias. So they questions about it in the global south perspective as well. कहने का अर्थ यह हुआ कि जब हम सैद्धांतिक आधार पर इस बात को समझने की कोशिश करते हैं, जैसे कि एक टॉपिक है यूरो सेंट्रलिज्म एंड द ग्लोबल साउथ, उसमें हम देखते हैं कि आखिर यूरो सेंट्रलिज्म के कंसेप्ट को क्यों डिस्कस किया जा रहा है। तो अब इस बात पर चर्चा की जा रही है, खास करके सबल्टन स्कॉलर के द्वारा, पोस्ट कॉलोनियल स्कॉलर के द्वारा, न्यू मार्क्सिस्ट स्कॉलर के द्वारा, कि आखिर जो भी कंसेप्ट अंतर्राष्ट्रीय राजनीति में है, चाहे वो रियलिज्म का हो, चाहे फेमिनिज्म का हो, चाहे कंस्ट्रक्टिविज्म का हो, चाहे इन्वायरमेंटलिज्म का हो, चाहे मार्क्सिज्म का हो या लिबरलिज्म का हो, मुख्य रूप से हम देखते हैं कि इसकी जो कंसेप्ट है, जो सोच है, या मॉडर्न नेशन स्टेट के इमरजेंस का बात हो, तो पूरा का पूरा ये कंसेप्ट माना गया है कि जो ट्रीटी ऑफ वेस्टफेलिया को एक सेंट्रलिटी स्पेस दिया गया है, और माना गया कि जो मॉडर्न नेशन स्टेट का कंसेप्ट है वहीं से प्रारंभ होता है और वहीं से पूरी आधुनिक राष्ट्र राज्य दुनिया की जो शुरुआत होती है। लेकिन जो ग्लोबल साउथ का जो पर्सपेक्टिव है, उनका कहना है कि इससे पहले भी, चाहे चाइना का आप इतिहास को देख लें, चाहे इंडिया के इतिहास को देख लें, चाहे इराक के इतिहास को देख लें, या ऑटोमन साम्राज्य के इतिहास को देख लें, या अफ्रीकन सिविलाइजेशन को नील सिविलाइजेशन को देख लें, तो दुनिया पहले भी काफ़ी विकसित थी और एक प्रॉपर पॉलिटिकल सोशल सिस्टम था। ये बेसिकली 16th सेंचुरी ऑनवर्ड्स जो है, खास करके जो इंपीरियलिज्म का जो ग्रोथ हुआ, उसके बाद से बेसिकली ये कंसेप्ट जो है यूरोसेंट्रिक बायस के आधार पर अंतर्राष्ट्रीय दुनिया को समझने की कोशिश की गई थी। तो ग्लोबल साउथ का जो एक रेफरेंस टर्म के रूप में जो यूज किया जा रहा है थ्योरेटिकल पर्सपेक्टिव में भी, तो हम ये देखते हैं कि ये जो अध्ययन, हमारे अध्ययन में जो यूरोसेंट्रिक बायस है, उस बायस को समाप्त करके अंतर्राष्ट्रीय राजनीति के अध्ययन में किस प्रकार से जो थर्ड वर्ल्ड की दुनिया है, खासकर जो ग्लोबल साउथ की जो दुनिया है, उनका क्या कंट्रीब्यूशन है, उनकी क्या कल्चरल सोच है, उनका जो स्टेट क्राफ्ट है, उसको समझने का प्रयास करने की कोशिश की जा रही है। और वो अध्ययन करने की कोशिश की जा रही है न्यू मार्क्सिस्ट एक्सप्लेनेशन के द्वारा, पोस्ट कॉलोनियल स्टडीज के द्वारा, सबल्टन स्टडीज के द्वारा। तो इस बात को भी इसमें समझने का कोशिश किया गया है। अब सेकेंड पार्ट ऑफ द लेक्चर्स में हम बेसिकली ये डिस्कस करना चाह रहे हैं कि आखिर जो पॉलिटिक्स ऑफ ग्लोबल साउथ है, जो तमाम हमने भूमिका माना कि थर्ड वर्ल्ड, ग्लोबल साउथ, उसका इतना सोशलाइजेशन किया, किस रूप में ये हमारे सामने आया, क्यों इसकी महत्ता है, इस बात को हम समझने की कोशिश पॉलिटिक्स ऑफ ग्लोबल साउथ के माध्यम से समझने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, खासकर एक्सप्लेनेशन पार्ट को हम करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं समझने। नाउ इन द सेकेंड पार्ट ऑफ दिस लेक्चर्स, व्हाट वी हैव बीन ट्राइंग till this lectures, we have tried to understand the meaning of the global south or the third world. We tried to explain the concept origination and the etymological evolution of the third world and the global south. Then we try to compare with the Eurocentralism and the global south. Then we also try to analyze the explanatory part of the whole theoretical concept of the global south and the and the third world. Now what we are trying to do is to see how this whole the assertion of the global south countries played an important role and made an impact on the global politics, that we are going to discuss about it, and what are their challenges, that we are also going to discuss about it. You see, definitely India, China, South Africa, Brazil, these countries have been emerging, even the Korea, Vietnam, these all countries have been emerging in the world politics. But there are a number of challenges. Still, there are a number of African countries that are still in the medieval period, medieval age. Still, Afghanistan and Pakistan are having a lot of challenges. Even in the India, in the state like in the Kashmir and the Nagaland, there are a number of challenges we have been facing. There are a number of caste and ethnic groups. We are still in the making of nation building process. So, how these countries would assert themselves in the global politics, that is the main understanding, and we are trying to analyze in the holistic perspective to see how the assertions of the global south impacted the world politics. And in the first lectures, what we are trying to understand, to see the politics of non-alignment. See, because what we understood in the after 1950, the concept of the third world and the global south emerged. And this third world country just started first time their assertions with the concept of the non-alignment, and the Pandit Nehru, Sukarno, and Egypt president played a very important role, and especially the Cuba, the Marxist countries, Fidel Castro, they also played a very important role. And in the Bandung Conference in the 1955, 29 African and Eastern countries met in the Indonesian city Bandung, and it did not oppose country from taking any positions on specific issues. All opposed South African apartheid, demanded nuclear disarmament, favored Arab states in their conflict with Israel, when he opposed American involvement in the Vietnam. So, if we started analyzing about their political assertions, then what we said, you see, when Pandit Nehru asserted that non-alignment is not a neutrality, it is basically judging the issue on the merit and demerit of the issue. So, they said, you see, they haven't opposed their member countries to take the positions. They said you have all right to take the positions either in favor or against, but by examining the merit of the issues. So, they said no, we are very much participant of the world politics, but we are not going to be a member of either the one bloc, Eastern bloc or the Western bloc. And this, they have a certain time commonality on their approach, and sometimes they have some differences. Like on the issue of South African apartheid issues, every non-aligned country, every third world country, every country of the global south opposed, and they condemned the Britishers and the imperialist powers to say you should not perpetuate this kind of policy. Then most of the countries of the of the third world countries, they also supported the nuclear disarmament issues. Later on, like the India also always supported the nuclear disarmament, and in the PBT they also signed. But when the question of the NPT and CTBT signed, then they asserted, you see, they are ready to sign, but all the other countries, like whether it's a developed or the first world or second world, they also said to the world, you see, when they are going to abandon their nuclear arms. Without their abandonment, if we say we are going to nuclear disarm ourselves, it would not be very helpful in the anarchic world. Then most of the countries, especially because Israel is considered as very close to the America, so most of the time in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, what we have witnessed that the country of the third world generally supported the Palestine and all other Arab countries whenever there was a fight and a struggle between the Arab and Israel. But after 90s or 2000, what we have seen it, the country of the third world countries like India and other also started having a very close and diplomatic and economic ties and military and strength with the Israel. So the situation had been changed when they started addressing the problem. But the Arab-Israel conflict is still remain there, and that is still unresolved questions of the First World War. And after Second World War, the Israel got a independent status, but the Palestine has not got the independent status. So, equally, even if you see the case of the India, when the President Jackson asked the Pandit Nehru or Shastri to support in the Vietnam War, Shastri opposed, and they said no, they are not going to support in the Vietnam War because they are not considering the involvement of the America is right. And then the President Jackson withdraw the food subsidy to India, and India faced the major crisis. But India stood by their commitment. So what they try to tell us, you see, time and again, whenever the requirement arises. The third world countries asserted their power in the world level and they claim that they are not going to buckle down under the pressure of first world. So even after the 90s, what we have witnessed, the same situation is going on. And the concept, what kind of their principles of the world politics, they say it's interstate relations of the five principles, relations on five principles that known as the Panchsheel, a mutual respect for each other, mutual non-aggressions, non-interference, equality and mutual benefit and peaceful coexistence. So when the world asked what kind of philosophy you have, what kind of world you required for, then they says, then they quoted the Panchsheel between the India and China, Bishop Pandit Nehru and Zhou Enlai signed in the 1955, and they said, see, our strategy is based on mutually respect to each other countries and mutually respect the sovereignty of each and every country, whether it's a small and the powerful. Mutual non-aggressions, we should not attack one another. Then the non-interference in the internal matters of the one another country. Equality and mutual benefits means every country of the world is equal, and the relationship based on the mutual benefit of each other, not based on the exploitations and exploited out the co-periphery kind of relationship. And they said, we want a peaceful coexistence across the world, whether it's the north and the south countries. We want a peaceful relationship. तो कहने का अर्थ यह हुआ कि पूरी की पूरी जो ग्लोबल पॉलिटिक्स जो ग्लोबल साउथ का था, उसमें उन्होंने बड़े अच्छे ढंग से बात रखी और उनके जो पॉलिटिक्स का जो तरीका था उसमें उन्होंने ये कहने की कोशिश की कि देखिए, आपकी दुनिया जो समझने का तरीका है वो हमारी दुनिया समझने से बिल्कुल अलग है। आप सोवियत आपने दुनिया को ईस्ट एंड वेस्ट में बांट दिया है। ईस्टर्न्स को आप अपना दुश्मन मानते हैं और ईस्टर्न वेस्टर्न को अपना दुश्मन मानते हैं। आपके आइडियोलॉजिकल कंट्राडिक्शंस हैं। आप कहते हैं कि दुनिया उदारवादी पूंजीवादी दौर से अच्छी चल सकती है, दूसरा कहता है कि समाजवादी साम्यवादी दौर से अच्छी चल सकती है। हमारे लिए ये प्रश्न नहीं है। हमारे लिए ये प्रश्न है कि हम एक स्टेट सिस्टम में विश्वास करते हैं और हम ये मानते हैं कि चाहे वो सोवियत यूनियन हो, चाहे अमेरिका हो, हर राष्ट्र का अपना एक राष्ट्रीय हित है और हमें ये पूरा अधिकार है कि हम अपने अनुसार उन राष्ट्रों के साथ संबंध बना सके। और इस आधार पर आप ये कहें कि हम उनके दोस्त हैं या मित्र हैं और हम आपके दुश्मन हैं, तो हम इस बात को मानने के लिए तैयार नहीं है। तो जब अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर यह पूछा गया कि भाई आप किस प्रकार की अंतर्राष्ट्रीय व्यवस्था को समझने की कोशिश करते हैं, उन्होंने कहा कि देखिए, हमारी अंतर्राष्ट्रीय व्यवस्था जो है वह म्यूचुअल रिस्पेक्ट में से एक दूसरे के आदर पर आधारित है। हर राज्य एक दूसरे को आदर करे, साथ साथ एक दूसरे की संप्रभुता को स्वीकार करे। साथ ही साथ हम इस बात पर भी हैं कि चाहे छोटा हो या बड़ा कंट्री हो, या शक्तिशाली कंट्री हो या कम शक्तिशाली कंट्री हो, तो म्यूचुअल नॉन एग्रेशंस का मतलब हम एक दूसरे पर आक्रमण ना करें। साथ ही साथ हम एक दूसरे के आंतरिक मामले में दखलंदाजी ना करें। साथ ही साथ उन्होंने कहा कि हम ऐसी व्यापारिक या कूटनीतिक संबंधों को बढ़ावा दें जिससे एक राष्ट्र दूसरे राष्ट्र के साथ बढ़ावा हो सके। साथ ही साथ उन्होंने कहा कि हम चाहते हैं कि विश्व में सहअस्तित्व की भावना हो। हम ये क्यों समझे कि साम्यवाद के द्वारा ही दुनिया अच्छी हो सकती है या उदारवाद या पूंजीवाद के द्वारा ही दुनिया अच्छी हो सकती है, क्योंकि यदि आप इस कंसेप्ट को समझने की कोशिश करेंगे तो जो हमने बोल्शेविक रिवॉल्यूशन में जब लेक्चर किया तो स्टालिन का कहना था कि सोशलिज्म इन द वर्ल्ड की बात कही गई थी और एक तरफ से अमेरिका में कहा गया था कि सी कंटेनमेंट ऑफ कम्युनिज्म एंड कंटेनमेंट ऑफ कैपिटलिज्म की जो बात चल रही थी, उस बात को हटाकर एक ग्लोबल साउथ के द्वारा एक पीसफुल कोएग्जिस्टेंस की बात की गई। साथ ही साथ हमने ये देखा पिछले इसमें कि बॉन्डुंग कॉन्फ्रेंस में जो व्यवस्था स्थापित की गई, खास करके नॉन अलाइनमेंट कंट्री की जो स्थापना की गई, उसमें भी हमने देखा कि नए अंतर्राष्ट्रीय व्यवस्था की मांग की गई। खास करके जो जातिगत भेदभाव था उसको समाप्त करने की बात कहा गया। इजराइल और फलस्तीन के बीच जो संघर्ष चल रहे थे, इजराइल और अरब के बीच जो संघर्ष चल रहे थे, तो जो प्रथम विश्व युद्ध के समय जो फलस्तीन को ये वादा किया गया था और इजराइल को ये वादा किया गया था कि आपको एक इंडिपेंडेंट टेरिटरी दी जाएगी, एक इंडिपेंडेंट स्टेट दिया जाएगा, उस इजराइल के साथ तो 1948 में पूरा कर दिया गया, लेकिन फलस्तीन को नहीं पूरा किया गया। तो इस बात को लेकर भी जो तीसरी दुनिया के देश थे उनका ये कहना था कि ये अनरिजॉल्व क्वेश्चंस है और फलस्तीन को भी स्वतंत्र राष्ट्र होने का पूरा हक होना चाहिए। साथ साथ वियतनाम का जो इन्वॉल्वमेंट, अमेरिका का जो इन्वॉल्वमेंट वियतनाम में था, उत्तरी वियतनाम और दक्षिणी वियतनाम की लड़ाई में, उसमें भी जो थर्ड वर्ल्ड कंट्रीज थे उनका यह मानना था कि ये राष्ट्र जो है इस प्रकार का व्यवहार ना करें जिससे कि जो कम शक्तिशाली राष्ट्र है या जो उनके वैचारिक रूप से जो राष्ट्र उनके साथ नहीं है उनके साथ वो व्यवहार इस तरह का ना हो। तो इस आधार पर उन्होंने एक नई व्यवस्था की मांग की। नेक्स्ट स्लाइड पर वी हैव बीन विटनेसिंग दैट किसी द डिमांड फॉर द ग्लोबल इकोनॉमिक इक्वलिटी, डिमांड टू रिफॉर्म ग्लोबल इकोनॉमिक सिस्टम इन 1962, formation of Group 77 in 1964, establishment of UN Conference on Trade and Development UNCTAD in 1974, demand for new international economic order in 1974. Then in the next, what we have been seeing, regulating transnational cooperation, transferring technology, reforming global trade to assist LDC development, cancelling or negotiating LDC debt, increasing economic aid to LDC, changing economic institutions to give LDC more influence. LDC, that is abbreviations of the least developed countries. Here what we have been understanding in the two slides, they demanded for the new economic world order. They asked for the equality in the global economic systems. They also asked for the participations of the third world countries, and they said, see, the present world economic structures is in favoring the first world, but not supporting the way the third world have a majority in the United Nations General Assembly. So they said, see, they are going to form the South-South cooperation kind of thing. Then they say, see, there is a need to regulate TNC's countries, TNC खासकर transnational corporations. Then they also asked for the transferring the technology to the third world countries. Then they also talking about the reforming global trade to assist LDC development, because they say that as long as the global trade system would not reform, the least developed countries would always isolate themselves, that they would not find, and the gap between the rich and poor would be widened. And that is one of the main basic theme of the global south, because they are considering to see the third world and the global south are effort for those countries who are economically weak, those who are economically not powerful. So they are trying to tell us, see, as long as the TNCs would not function properly and they would not distribute the profit to the least developed countries, the powerful countries or those who are the developed countries would not transfer the technology for the development of the least developed countries, and the global trade system would not in the favor of the least developed countries, the world would not be a best place to live for the least developed countries. Then they are also trying to tell us, see, the lot of debt system, debt on the developing and underdeveloped countries, that should be either cancelled or that should be restructured. Then they are also talking about, see, the increased economic aid from the developed countries, and they are also talking about the changing economic institutions to give LDC more influence, like a new international economic order and all these things. And the last but not least, they said, what are the challenges before the third world countries? They say the toxic combination of ethnic conflict, corruption, poverty, or populations, environmental stress, cause state institutions in these countries to collapse, resulting in failed states. Analysis by the Fund for Peace Assistance outlined 12 conditions with state weaknesses: demographic pressure, refugee and internally displaced person, violence, chronic and sustained flight, trained and educated citizens, uneven economic and social development, sharp and severe economic decline, the loss of legitimacy by the state, the absence and collapse of public services, the rule of law and human rights applied unevenly, the security apparatus, the risk of functionality is high, the intervention of other states. Means when we see one side they are demanding for the all kind of reform from the third world, from the first world countries, but the another side they are also knowing about their own challenges, because the overpopulations and the groups of the grievances, then all the educated and trained people, migrations to the first world, and the uneconomic social and economic development. These all problem created a lot of stress on the state institutions, state systems, and across the world, whether it's Africa, Asia, or Latin America, we have been witnessing after the 90s, the number of state systems have been collapsing. Even people in the India have been facing a lot of pressures of the overpopulations and ethnic cleansing, whether it's in Kashmir and Nagaland. So equally, if you see the case of Nigeria, Somalia, Rwanda, Uganda, Pakistan, everywhere there is ethnic cleansing is going on. There are one group, those who are ethnically dominated, grabbing all the power, and other would not getting that kind of power. So it's all create a big problem for the world politics, and they are trying to tell us, see, as long as the world would not collectively resolve all these problems, the world would not be a place where every citizens would be live a proper life and educated citizens of this world system. Thank you.
With this note, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for giving us this session. Friends, you are requested to write to us at info.cec@nic.in if you have any question in mind or if you wish to give your feedback. We are going to meet again soon and would be discussing more on some other new topics. Till then, take care. Goodbye. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again.